Worst moves by Peter Chiarelli as Boston Bruins GM. Peter Chiarelli was the GM of the Boston Bruins from 2006 to 2015. During his tenure as GM, Chiarelli made many head-scratching moves. Perhaps the greatest criticism of Chiarelli is that he overspent and overpaid over-the-hill players. This left the Bruins with very little cap room remaining. In addition, he made some terrible trades that will go down in the record books as worst trades in NHL history. Even though Chiarelli is now gone, some of his moves can still be felt. Worst trades. Kris Versteeg to the Chicago Blackhawks for Brandon Bochenski. Bochenski only played 20 games for the Bruins. Versteeg helped the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup twice, once in 2010 and another time in 2015. Brad Stuart, Wayne Primeau, and a conditional 4th round pick in 2008 to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Chuck Kobasew and Andrew Ference. The condition was that if Brad Stuart did not re-sign with the Flames, they would get a conditional 4th round pick. This conditional pick turned into TJ Brodie. While Andrew Ference did become a solid bottom pair defenseman for the Bruins, TJ Brodie has emerged as a solid top pair defenseman for the Flames, acquiring Adam McQuaid from the Columbus Blue Jackets for the 129th pick in the 2007 draft. This pick went on to Dallas, and they used this pick to select superstar Jamie Benn. Benn is now a premier player in the NHL, while McQuaid is a top 4 defenseman at best. Blake Wheeler and Mark Stuart to the Atlanta Thrashers in exchange for Rich Peveley and Boris Valabik. Rich Peveley did become an important part of the Stanley Cup winning team in 2011. However, Blake Wheeler is now a huge part of the Winnipeg Jets and just got named their captain. On top of that, Mark Stuart is also a very solid defenseman as well. Joe Colborne and a 2011 first-round pick to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Tomas Kaberle. First-round pick was used to select Rickard Rakell. Kaberle had a forgettable stint with the Boston Bruins. Rickard Rakell looks to be a very promising young player in the NHL. Tyler Seguin, Rich Peveley, and Ryan Button to the Dallas Stars for Loui, Eriksson, Joe Morrow, Riley Smith, and Matt Fraser. Tyler Seguin is now one of the premier young scorers in the NHL and has formed a dynamic duo alongside Jamie Benn in Dallas. Loui Eriksson really had one great season in Boston, now he's gone. Riley Smith had 2 solid seasons with the Bruins, but now is playing for the Panthers. Joe Morrow and Matt Fraser have yet to make an impact at the NHL level yet. Johnny Boychuk to the New York Islanders in exchange for a 2015 second round pick and a 2016 second round pick. These picks were Brandon Carlo and Ryan Lindgren. It is unknown if any of these players will actually make it to the NHL. Boychuk is now an all-situational defenseman for the Islanders. Worst signings. Chris Kelly, 3 years, $3 million per season. Even though Chris Kelly is a great leader and a good third-line center, he is injured way too often. Dennis Seidenberg, 3 years, $4 million per season. When Seidenberg signed this contract, it was fine because he was a reliable top 4 defenseman. But recently, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. To make matters worse, they traded away Johnny Boychuk. Zdeno Chara, 7 years, $6.9 million per season. Chara is now a defensive zone liability. He's slow and he gets beat to the outside way too often now. Bad draft picks. Zach Hamel, 8th overall, 2007. Passed on Logan Couture. 25th overall, 2009. Passed on Ryan O'Reilly. Peter Chiarelli really set the Bruins back with his bad trades and bad signings. Now the Boston Bruins have a lot of work to do if they want to remain serious contenders in the Eastern Conference. Next, worst moves by Dale Talon as Florida Panthers GM.